So I'm just walking around looking at everything, and one of the owners comes up and asks me if I need a towel just to soak up all the drool from the noises I'm making as I walk around this shop. There's so much here to look at, guys. It's really, really cool. What's going on, guys? We are back from Melbourne and we had an absolute blast down there. 3 full days of toy hunting with fellow collectors Scott Crusher and my dad. So 3 of us headed down to Melbourne. This is part 1 of a little series of the Melbourne trip that we're going to be releasing. So this is looking at the first day, which had its ups and downs, starting with the train strike that occurred in Sydney. Scott was on the plane, ready to roll to go to Melbourne, and me and my dad were stuck at Central and missed our flight. So with that, Scotty, sorry about that, buddy, he had to hang out at Melbourne Airport for 2 hours while me and my dad got another flight. So pushed our itinerary back a little bit, few places we couldn't get to, but we knew the one place we wanted to is the place that you've already started to see some of the footage for, and that is Lobos Collectables. Guys, if you come to Lobos, they got this absolutely amazing Star Wars vintage Kenner section set up. Every shelf is just set up with individual movie scenes all the way along throughout all the 3 movies. This is an amazing collection here, guys. Come and see it. It's clean, it's well presented, and it's just so cool to see. So you can see here we've just got a massive wall of the modern Star Wars figures. Everything on card here takes up this whole wall. It's pretty amazing. Masters of the Universe, absolutely jam-packed in here. Like above, there's the original Eternia. Battle Cat Pantor is there. Just shelves of Motu. So here in Lobos with my dad, what do you think of this place so far?
Mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling.
There's so much to look at and you go, ooh, ooh.
We're back in the Star Wars vintage section again. Any vinyl Cape Jawas on the list?
No.
Always wanted one of them. Not at that price, but see, like cool Goosebumps audio tape. There we've got some Police Academy in the back. And across, we've actually got the Dark Crystal. That's pretty wicked. Here are the Gelflings. Some Dark Crystal cards. So Scotty, what do you think? Lobos, been here for about what, 45 minutes now? What do you think, mate? You found anything good?
I think we might be the way, mate. But no, Lobos never disappoints. This place is unbelievable. You know, it's my third time here, but just as overwhelming on my third visit as it probably is for Dino on his first. But yeah, I love it, mate.
I'm blown away, man.
It's incredible.
Blown away.
It's incredible.
So guys, as you can see from the footage, Lobos Collectables is an actual treasure trove of vintage toy goodness. The cabinets are jam-packed with pretty much any line that you can think of. there is something there for everybody. Dennis, who was there on the day, who runs Lobos Collectables, he allowed us to film and helped his staff just helped us out, getting things out of the cupboard, showing us different pieces of kind of rare and obscure toys, and like, you just spend hours there. Like I said at the start of the video, we did have our itinerary pushed back. We were hoping to spend at least 4, maybe 4.5 hours at Lobos. We only got 3.5 hours, but thanks to Dennis, he allowed us to stay back about 20 minutes past close, just to really capture everything more that we wanted to capture for this video, and just to have a look at everything. There's that much there. Like I said, you just can't get through it in a couple of hours. You really need a good chunk of day. So with that said, both myself, Scotty, and my dad, we found things at this store, and we just started pulling things out of the cabinets. So just a shout out to Dennis and his team for just going around and opening all the cabinets, getting all the different things out. And I'll show you some of the items that I started to get. Now you have to remember, this is the first day. We've got another 2 full days, so I was trying to just maintain my cash flow and just make sure that I wasn't just going nuts and just grabbing everything I could, but I picked up some banger things. So let's have a look at some of the items that I did add into our collection. So as soon as I walk into Lobos, I immediately see the Turtles cabinets. Vintage Turtle cabinets full of vintage figures. Vehicles are all there, and then it just cascades down through the different generations of figures. The 2003, the 2012 figures, they're all in there, and there's so many of them. But it was the vintage Turtles that I was looking at, hoping to pick one up. And while there were 2 there that I was looking at, Scotty and I are shoulder to shoulder going, which one are you going to get, which one am I going to get? I actually settled on the 2002 Toon Turtle of Shredder. A figure that I've always admired because of the paintwork. The paint job on this figure gives the more cartoony resemblance to the Shredder. It's the same exact sculpt as you would have got in the original 1988 Turtles, just with a beautiful paint job. And that's the thing that stood out to me. It was the paint job, especially his chin, which does always end up with a lot of paint chips and rubs. This paint job on this figure is immaculate. His cape's really nice. Everything about this figure is really nice. He only came with one of his weapons, which you would notice is red in these toon lines. So a few weapons to hunt down, but I got a really good deal on this. And this was the first thing that I took out of the cabinet to start my pile at Lobos. So I'm wandering around Lobos, looking at every little nook and cranny that there is on every shelf, getting down to the bottom shelves, not only to capture footage, but just to see what's in there, see what's there. And I find this little glass container full of Lanard corpse figures. So these are like knockoff G.I. Joe figures from back in the 90s that I had as a kid, and I have my ones, but they're all in pieces. So these are already an amazing upgrade to that collection that I'm trying to fill out. But the one thing that I'm always looking for is to make sure that they've got their thumbs. Their thumbs, like any G.I. Joe collector knows, they always snap off. So getting these guys with their thumbs. Hammer here, his head's a bit damaged, so I might do a replacement of that and just have a really nice copy. But these are only $5 each, so I just had to add that to my pile. One of the items that I found there was a Bucky O'Hare, a little shelf of this, and this is Dog Star. And he was a really good price and a really clean figure, but it wasn't the figure that I was after. It was actually his gun, which is not his gun. This is actually Bucky's gun. So a gun that I needed to add onto my Bucky figure that I had at home. And so I picked this up for really cheap. I think it was like $15 in the end when I bundled everything up. And yeah, I was happy to that. So I've got a Dog Star here that I can move on to someone else. But now I have a complete Bucky O'Hare figure in my collection. So what I found as an enjoyable moment for the first day was just hanging with Scotty and my dad in this toy shop, just looking through all the cabinets, and you just hear my dad or Scotty yell out, "Dean, come look at this, have you seen this?" And I'd be like running across the room just to see what is this thing that they've found that they want to show me. They all know what lines I collect. I'm doing the same thing. I'm yelling out, "Hey Scotty, look at this, look what I found you." So I just found that really cool, and it was a really fun part of the adventure. Guys, we got the Playmates Star Trek bridge set here. Oh, something that we had as a kid. We still have it in the collection. Just absolutely no room to display this. Like you can see against the figures, they're just humongous playset. But heaps of Star Trek figures here, guys. Loose, not something you see loose all the time. So many weapons, Playmates. This is an incredible sort of castle. I don't know what it's from, but it just works so well with these Lord of the Rings figures. Man, I wish I could get that home. Put all my loose Lord of the Rings figures on that thing.
Wow.
You don't know because you haven't seen it, but
That's cool, bro.
yeah. Falcor. Alright, let's put him in the pile.
Be rude not to grab that, man.
That's the only one I've ever seen.
The only one I've ever seen, man. So with that said, Scotty yelled out to me, told me, come over and check this out, Dean. This fits right in your collection. And I raced over and I saw this Cotty's ice block sort of molds. So if you remember back in the 90s and the 80s, probably even before that, they had these 4 little ice block molds that you would make. You'd put your own cordial in, which Cotty's is an Australian brand. So this is Australian exclusive, never-ending story to Cotty's ice blocks. I just thought this was wicked. I have to admit, I did and ah on it. The price was up there, but I just reminded myself, you're in Melbourne to pick up things like this. This is not just an average day. So I actually scooped this up, and Dennis, the owner of Lobos Collectables, he said, you're never gonna see one of these again. And I have to admit, I don't think we're ever gonna see this again. The Australiana memorabilia for Cotty's. And when you take it out of the pack, you can see that you get those 4 molded shapes. What really sold it for me was just when I pulled one of these out and you could see Falcor on that stick, and I was just like, yeah, damn. Each of the 4 have different characters on them. So I just thought to myself, this is definitely coming home with me. This is a piece that I don't think I'll ever see again. So really happy to get this into the collection. One of the cool things about Lobos is when you walk in the front door, there's just a tub there full of all these little baggies. Everything in that tub's $3. So I had to rummage through there, picked a couple of cool things up for my little one just to play with. And I found something that I picked up and I was like, what is this? It's a Batman and Robin from 1997, the movie. And it's like a blow-up toy. So I didn't know what it was, but for $3, I thought, why not just pick this up and have a little bit of fun? I know, I think it was my dad said it's probably a Batarang, which would be wicked. I haven't looked it up. I thought I'd just open it now and find out what we got. So for $3, let's open it up. It's probably like super rare, and yep, we just did that, but it doesn't matter. This was just a bit of fun. So what do we have? What do we have? We've got the Batman blow up symbol, which I guess you could say is a Batarang. So that's sick. What I'll do is I'll blow it up and I'll show you.
A few moments later.
There you go. I think Dad was right. The Batman Batarang blow up toy. So there you go. That was pretty cool. Best $3 ever. So guys, if you've been following my channel for any time, you would know that I love my Star Wars, and I thought let's use this opportunity to get some of those harder to get sort of alien figures and creature figures if I came across them. With the new HasLab Cantina coming out in August, I thought, why not try to pick up a few items that fit in that cantina, hopefully for prices that are not eBay currently. So I was pretty damn lucky and happy to find a few of those to add into the collection. So to start with, we got, and I'm going to butcher their name, Hammer Darzon. So I think you see more of just his head pop up in the cantina. So that was a really cool figure from the Saga collection to add into the line. And these guys were all reasonably priced. They weren't the skyrocketing eBay prices everyone's trying to get because of the HasLab Cantina that's coming out. So just a couple of Star Wars figures from Lobos. Dynamic Jericho. So here's a really cool one because you get those sort of nose tentacles, I guess you would call it. And if you've ever read the back of Jericho's card, he's actually a pretty nasty dude. So he ingests people's blood and brains by those antennas or those little succulents that he sticks into them. So yeah, stay away from Jericho. And yeah, only one more Star Wars figure. So 3 Star Wars figures to start my weekend. Yarana is the Wookiee Coruscant Senate. So I've got to add him into the collection. I just thought he's an awesome figure. He's hefty as, really heavy, but a really nice detailed figure. So 3 figures that I have never seen in the wild or any toy shows. Pretty good prices. Happy to add them into my pile. So Scott and my dad are hunting in this cabinet. I'm just down the aisleway a little bit, and they both said, Dean, is this the thing that you were looking for the most? And it happened on the first day. I rush up and all I could see was the side of the box, and it was the item that I was most hoping to find in this toy trip weekend, and that is the 1995 Tyco Dr. Dreadful Food Lab. So this is something I had as a kid. It was something that I've said to everyone, keep an eye out for the Dr. Dreadful Food Lab from the 90s. And I just wanted it back in my collection. So it's kind of a science kit that you would do. And what you would do with it is you would create these gooey insect lollies that you could eat. You would make sort of like a brain, bubbly brain mixture, sort of like fairy floss, things like that. And you would have these like scientific drinks. Now, I remember this as a kid. I remember eating all this and creating all this, but I also remember that it was recalled. It was recalled because of the chemicals that were used to make this. So by that time, I had already eaten everything that had come with mine, and I wasn't able to get any of the additional like packets of the powder stuff that they were selling because they pulled them all off the shelf, and I never got them again. But I'd been hunting this down for quite some time. Sure, you can get it on eBay and you could buy it from the States and get it shipped over, but I just wanted to find it myself. I wanted that nostalgic hit when I saw it, and all I saw, like I said, was about that much of it, and I knew exactly what that was. So I picked it up, Sad thing is it's not 100% complete. There were parts missing. We went through it all, and I will do an in-depth video on this by itself to show you everything and how it sort of functioned back in the day. But Dennis and his team gave me a great price because it wasn't complete, and it was a no-brainer. This was taking out half of my suitcase, and I was damn happy to do that. So the last items I found at Lobos was something that I didn't think I'd find down there, and I only ever wanted one carded representation in my collection, and that's from the 1987 Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. So a live action TV show from back in the late 80s, and they've got a great figure line of these. I do have a few of the loose figures in my collection, a few other memorabilia, but to see a carded one, and this card is dead straight, like really dead straight. And the thing is, these are European releases. They're plentiful in Europe because they didn't come out in Australia, so we didn't get these down here. So being able to find one on card, being able to find them loose is even difficult. But I was so happy to grab this. It was the last thing that I saw, and again, it was only just a portion of the card shoved in the back of a cabinet down low that became noticeable, so I grabbed that. But that back card artwork, and you see all the other figures, all the other vehicles that you can get, it was interactive. This TV show was interactive to your toys using kind of like infrared lasers. So part of the TV show, select scenes would have the bad guys shooting at you, and you could use your vehicles to actually shoot back, kind of like the Nintendo Zap Gun, how you would play dog hunt and things like that, duck hunt, sorry, and things like that. So just first time I've ever seen it. It's beautiful. It's got some of the chrome around the name peel there. So Lieutenant Tank Ellis is in my collection. Representations there for the carded figures, which I can just put behind all my loose figures. So super happy to pick that up. And of course, the most important pickup from Lobos Collectables was a Twinkie. Yes, I was gifted a Twinkie from the counter. I just picked it up to have a look at it. Scott and I in the car earlier that day were talking about the Simpsons episode where you cannot hurt a Twinkie.
This is what I think of your store!
Silly customer! You cannot hurt a Twinkie!
And I just saw it there, I picked it up, and they said, you can have a Twinkie. The thing about Twinkies is we couldn't find a best before or expiry date on the Twinkie itself, or even on the box. So I really can't bring myself to eat this. But if you think I should, leave a comment, and if I get enough comments, I might try a Twinkie from God knows when. But it still looks pretty good. So guys, you've seen all the footage of Lobos Collectables. What more can I say? Dennis and his team, they've just put on a fantastic show. They were so helpful throughout the few hours that we were there, allowing us to film, allowing us to pull things out of the cupboard. Dennis showing us a few rare and obscure items, and it's floor to ceiling. You got to look up. You got to look right down in the bottom shelves, and there's just so much there to look at. It was such an enjoyable afternoon. The first day we were there till about 5:30 in the afternoon, so really some fun time spent doing that. But we now head back into the city and get ready to go and hang out with a few Melbourne toy collectors in Lee and his mate that he brought along, Gareth. So yeah, they took us out to a nice Chinese dinner and a few drinks, and just you can see by some of the photos here, we just had a good feed, a good chat. It was great meeting these two guys and just talking toys. What do you collect? How do you collect? We also went to this cool Japanese robot bar and had a few beers there. So everything they had lined up for us as we walked around the city was kind of in line with what we enjoyed doing. And we did end up at the end of the night at this cool pinball arcade. So I think I had the most fun there. I was running around trying to play every video game that there was. while the other boys just chilled out and had a few beers. So I thought that was really enjoyable. It was fun just hanging out and just sort of relaxing what had been a really exciting and stressful day. But in the end, I really enjoyed my first day in Melbourne. It wasn't to bed early, it was to bed late, and it was up early for our next day. So stay tuned for the next few episodes. They're going to be super awesome. I just want to thank Lee and Gareth for their time that they spent showing us around the city. So it was a really, really wonderful time. But until the next video, I'll see you for day 2. Happy hunting, everyone.